Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your girl, Trial Ravenel, Life and Marriage Disruptor. We are on for day 12 of 21. We are talking about enough is enough. Good morning to all my replay viewers. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for pushing that replay button. I truly appreciate you. Enough is enough as you're coming in. Good morning, Danielle. I want you to hashtag enough is enough. As you're coming in the room, hashtag enough is enough. We've been on and really sharing why enough is enough in this day, in this time, in this age of life, and also of marriage. Good morning, Tanja. Let me go and share this in a few places here. I've been talking to couples, I've been talking to wives, I've been talking to wives in waiting, and just really having the conversation about why God created marriage, what marriage is all about, and how you should be showing up in your marriage, and also how your spouse should be showing up in marriage. I'm talking specifically to women, and I know we have some guys that are on here that will watch the replay and that are a part of the conversation and are affected by being in an emotionally destructive or emotionally abusive marriage. So I'm talking to you as well. So come on in the room, hashtag enough is enough. Enough is enough. I want to share something with you. If you don't know, marriage is under attack. If you don't know, the enemy has launched an attack against marriages because he understands that if the marriage unit is strong, so then is the family unit. If the family unit is strong, so is the community, so is the church, and so forth and so on. We know from the book of Genesis that God established marriage. We know that he created marriage for his glory. We know that a husband and wife is to come together and operate as one flesh, and the enemy will do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. Some of you have already experienced it. Some of you are going through it right now. Some of you will experience it sometime in the future. But I'm here to let you know that the enemy does not like the fact that you made a conscious decision to honor God and to be married. Now, we understand that also when we marry someone, we marry their faults, we marry their flaws. Good morning, Tamara. We marry their baggage, we marry their hurt, their pain, and everything else that they're struggling with. And what I have been able to see is that a lot of couples are not making it because one or both individuals are refusing to get healed. One or both individuals are refusing to do the internal work. Somebody say internal work. They're refusing to do the internal work in order to have a sustainable, lovable, and a God-centered marriage. I have spoken to a few women and that have been married 20 plus years. And these women have told me that there were times where they wanted to give up on their marriage. There were times that they were over it. They didn't want to work anymore. They didn't want to be the wife. They didn't want to be the mother. They were just tired of the entire role of being a wife. Some may say, well, how can you get that way? You know, you marry your husband and you marry for until death do you part, and you want the best, and you know you've desired this thing. How can someone get that way? Well, I can tell you, because you evolve as a person. You know, you evolve socially, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes when you're growing, you can begin to grow apart if you're not intentional about making the marriage work. So I want to talk a little bit this morning about when love grows cold. And I believe that every marriage at some point will experience something like this or something similar, only because of the mere fact that we all are human and that we all go through and we all experience things within our emotions and within our feelings. And if our relationship with God is not where it needs to be, and our relationship with our spouse is not where it needs to be, it's easy for us to grow apart rather than grow together. Does anybody understand what I'm saying on this morning? It's easy for us to grow apart rather than grow together simultaneously. So what we want to do, we want to protect the marriage covenant. We want to protect the entity that God has allowed us to establish between a husband and wife, a man and a woman. So this morning, I want to talk about something that's called disaffection. Disaffection. And basically, when I talk about disaffection, I'm going to read a definition here for you. When I talk about disaffection, oh, where did my definition go? Hold on, guys. Somebody say disaffection. It's dis, and then the word affection. That's basically when affection has been far removed. And disaffection, listen to this, you all. Disaffection refers to the negative transformation of marital love and commitment, the process by which love grows cold and the desire to leave the marriage or hurt one's spouse replaces former love. I'm going to read that again. It's the negative transformation of marital love and commitment, the process by which love grows cold and the desire to leave the marriage or hurt one's spouse replaces the former. All marriages go through this. All marriages go through times when love grows cold or lacks the depth it once had. When marriages get into trouble, both partners hurt, and many times they can't pinpoint what is wrong. So many of you are at a place right now where you're feeling like love has grown cold. It's not what it used to be. It doesn't feel the same way. You may not look at your spouse the same way. You may not desire your spouse the same way you desired them before. You may not desire to do the things that you've done in the past with your spouse. Let me tell you this. When you realize this is happening, if you're just realizing this is happening, it's probably been going on for quite a while. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're just realizing like, okay, we're distant, it's been going on for quite a while, because there are subtle cues and things that are happening that leads up to love growing completely cold. There are things that happen. And sometimes we are so caught up in our own lives. Sometimes we're so caught up being a wife, being a mom, doing our own thing in our own world. We don't have our marital radar on. Our marital spiritual radar is not on, because we just think, and correct me if I'm wrong, wives and my wives in waiting, we just think, okay, we've married, we're together, we've made a commitment to be together forever, and that's enough. We made a commitment to love one another forever, and that's enough. We've made a commitment until death do us part, and that's enough. So there is no more thought that goes into, I need to do anything extra to make this work, because I've already given my life to this person. I've already made the commitment until death do us part. Am I right or am I right, you guys? So a lot of times there is no more energy that goes into that, because we feel like it's just going to work itself out on its own. Thank you, Tanja. Thank you, sweetheart, for backing me up on that. We don't spend any more time or give any more energy to that, because we think it's just going to happen or just going to evolve as it may. But I'm here to let you know, when you're feeling those feelings, and when you notice that there's a distance, when you notice you're not talking as much, you're not laughing as much, you're not communicating as much, you're not having sex as much, you're not involved with each other's lives as much, you're not involved with each other's decisions as much, at that time, you really need to step away and really evaluate what's going on, and to see if love is growing cold in your marriage. In fact, it says if people are willing to step back and review their marital story, they will usually find a pattern of thoughts and behaviors that led to the disaffection. And basically what that's saying is that if you really just step away and see what's going on, evaluate the marriage where it is right now, observe your husband where he is right now, you will normally see patterns of behavior, again, things that have been happening all along that has led to the point where you are right now in the marriage. If you're separated, you'll see patterns of behavior that led to this point. If you're divorced, you'll see patterns of behavior that led to the point where you are right now. So what we want to do, we want to help couples, we want to help wives, we want to help men to be able to see the patterns of behavior, things that are happening that's causing a division, that's creating conflict or prolonged conflict, that's creating and stirring up chaos in the marriage. Let me tell you, all of those things, those are of the devil. I'm not saying that you can't have conflict, but when you have conflict that is unresolved and you're continuing to argue about the same thing and continue to have the same conversation about the same issue, the same problem, we've been here over and over and over again, and you can't seem to get it resolved, then that's going to end up badly. Most times it ends up in separation and or divorce. Most times, right? And many times when you do decide to stay in that marriage, you're unhappy. Am I right or am I right? Many times when you do decide to stay in that marriage, when you do decide to not let go, to fight for it, you're unhappy, because you realize that I've been in this space for quite some time now, and I have been ignorant to the fact of what has really been going on. So I want to give you some pointers on today. I want to give you some pointers on today. And don't have, what I want to say is, don't have unrealistic expectations to think that this can never happen to you. I said early on that the enemy is on attack, and he's attacking marriages. He's coming against marriages. He's doing everything in his power and in his might to destroy your marriage. So don't think that it cannot happen to you. Don't think that your marriage is so safe and it's so protected from what the enemy is going to attempt to do. The Bible tells us in Ephesians that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness of high places. So not only do you have the spiritual warfare and attack that's coming against the marriage, because Satan hates marriage. Satan hates marriages. Come on. He hates marriages. And he's going to do everything in his power to destroy your marriage. He's going to do everything in his power to destroy you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. He's going to do everything in his power to take your marriage down. So you have the spiritual attack. Then you have the natural attack. You're fighting against someone's personality, someone's behavioral pattern, someone else's hurt. Your husband's hurt, your wife's hurt, their pain, the things that they refuse to get help from, the things that they refuse to heal from. In many cases, the things that they are ignoring. In many cases, the things that they are not only ignoring, but they are denying. That's the word I'm looking for. They're denying that anything is wrong. They're saying to themselves, there's nothing wrong with me. They're saying to themselves, I already dealt with that. They're saying to themselves, my daddy is not my problem. My mom is not my problem. They're saying to themselves, my family is not my problem. They're saying to themselves, yeah, I know I experienced abuse. I know I've experienced being molested. I know I've experienced being hurt as a young boy or as a young girl, but that's not my issue. That's not my problem because I already dealt with that. I'm here to let you know, just because it no longer is happening in the present, and just because you're no longer physically associated with that thing, it doesn't mean that you've already dealt with that. Because if you've already dealt with that, it would not be now affecting your marriage. It will no longer be affecting your life. If you already dealt with that. If he already dealt with that. So we have to pay attention. I talked yesterday about knowing the season that you're in. So I'm going to give you some steps here. So number one, you want to reframe your story. Somebody can transcribe for me. Reframe your story. So what's happening? Ask yourself what's happening. We're doing some preventative work today. Identify any series of problematic behavior that's happening. Any problematic thoughts. Any problematic things that's occurring. Could it be you're working too much? Either one. Could it be you're spending too much time with family? Too much time giving it to the kids and not enough to your spouse? Could it be you're not having a heart of acceptance of love? Your heart is changing. Your heart is reshifting, is reframing itself. Could it be you're not making necessary sacrifices to put your spouse's needs before yours? But sometimes that needs to happen. You know, we can't always be caught up in doing what we want to do. We can't always be caught up in just chasing our dreams and chasing our aspirations and leaving our spouses, you know, to themselves and not really giving that time and attention. We're reframing your story on this morning. Could it be you refuse to identify and love your spouse according to their love language and not yours? You know, as humans, we love others the way we want to be loved. But that's not necessarily the right way to love somebody. You have to love somebody based on their need to be loved, based on how they desire to be loved. And the only way you'll be able to do that is if you ask the question. You can't automatically think that because you like gifts or because you like cuddling and spending time together, that that's what that person desires. Their quality time may be, or their love language may be acts of service. Their love language may be words of affection, words of affirmation. They may need you to lift them up. and tell them how amazing they are on a regular basis. And many times when they're not getting that from home, what do? They go out into the world and they receive the love that they desire from you, from other people. And you may be saying, well, Terrell, why is it that they can't just tell me that's the way that they want to be loved? Well, because many times, number one, they haven't even identified it. And then number two, they may not know how to share that with you. They may not be in an emotional intelligence space and a social intelligence space to open up their mouths and say, honey, I need you to love me this way. Let's just be honest. Most men don't work on their self-development, especially early on, as women tend to. At some point they get it. But women early on begin to work on their emotional, social, spiritual development. And we understand that these things are necessary not only to have a healthy marriage, but also to have a healthy life. Whereas men, not so much. A lot of times men are detached from their emotions and their emotional well-being. Case in point, when men are young boys and they cry, what is being told to them when they cry or act soft or may show any level of affection? What happens? I want y'all to answer the question. Your son gets hurt on the playground. His dad has him at the playground, or his mom has him at the playground, and he gets hurt and starts boo-hoo crying. What's the first thing, especially in the African American community? What is the first thing that child is told when they're hurt, crying, and showing strong levels of emotion? I'm gonna wait for y'all to answer. Okay, come on, sis. Don't cry. Man up. Brush it off. So as from an early age, men are taught not to show emotion, not to evoke emotion. So from that point on, when little Johnny, little JC, little Brian was 3 years old, he was taught to suppress his emotions. So now little Johnny, little JC, Brian is 30 years old, 40 years old. And guess what? He's still suppressing his emotion. So he doesn't know how to come to you and say, I'm hurt. He doesn't know how to come to you and say, I feel sad. He doesn't know how to come to you and say, I need your help. I need you to love me this way. Y'all get where I'm going with this? So reframe your story. Ask yourself, am I not appreciating my spouse in the way that I need to appreciate him? Ask yourself, do you have expectations for your spouse that they're not able to meet? True story on appreciation. I had toxic conditioning. Exactly, artists. I had texted my husband the other day and I had to share with him how much I love and appreciate him and I'm thankful for him. And I shared some other things. And I told him that in 2020, I'm going to be more intentional about demonstrating my honor to him. My husband's love languages are gifts and words of affirmations. That's his top 2 love languages. So in me doing that, I'm creating a safe space for his heart because he understands how much I honor and respect him as my husband, as the leader, as the head of our household. So we have to understand that when we're dealing with these men, a lot of them are damaged property. A lot of them have been conditioned with toxic behavioral patterns. Okay? Number 2, respond to each other as Christ would and not based on your emotion. We're talking today about when love grows cold. A few times during this 12-day series, I instructed you to ask your husband the question, are you happy? What will it take for you to be the husband that you need to be or desire to be? What would it take for you to be the father that you desire or that you need to be? Those 3 questions. So when he responds, you have to respond as Christ would respond, right? So you can't react to what he may say, but you have to respond as Christ would respond. Okay? I want to read something. Reduce criticism and negative interaction and increase positive and emotionally invested communication. I'm going to say that again. Reduce criticism and negative interaction and increase positive and emotionally invested communication. You have to maintain and respect your spouse's safety zone at all times, and vice versa. But a lot of times when we're fighting, we're arguing, we're fussing, we are going to say things based on how we feel. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're saying things based on how you're feeling, based on what your emotion is telling you, you're going to say something that you're going to regret. And it's going to cause the marriage to be in a discord place. It's going to cause the marriage to be disaffected and divided. It's going to cause a marriage to be divided. So respond as Christ will respond. Well, Charles, how does Christ respond? We can read 1 Corinthians 13, and Paul gave a great demonstration of what our response should look like, not only to our spouses, but to everybody in the body of everybody, and especially those in the body of Christ should know this is my response. So if you're having a problem controlling your emotions, I'm here to let you know that we have to work on your emotional intelligence. Because number one, not only do you have to realize what emotion am I experiencing, am I feeling right now, but how do I convey that emotion without stepping on my husband's or my wife's airwaves? How do I convey or express myself without destroying them? How do I convey or express myself without making them feel small, without intentionally trying to hurt them? Because in the past, that's all I knew. I grew up in a household where darts were fired all the time, where words were used to hurt people, where words were used to tear people down and not to build people up. So I've adopted that same characteristic. My husband has adopted that same characteristics. That's a part of who I am. That's a part of who he is. And we find ourselves waging for war in our marriage, in a covenant that was designed by God, that was established by God, where we are supposed to be able to get along, and we're supposed to be able to demonstrate Christ's love, and we're supposed to be able to be in a unit where we are Christ's demonstration of what love looks like. But that's not happening. So you want to respond instead of react. And then the number 3 I'm going to share with you is to find a marriage mentor. Find a marriage mentor. How many of you have a marriage mentor, a coach, a counselor, pastoral advisement, or somebody that you can go to and that you can get unsolicited advice, godly advice combined with natural principles to be able to help your marriage? And the reason why I say natural principles is because you need natural application. You need natural tools and resources to be able to help you sustain your marriage. Yes, we need the word of God. Yes, we're going to pray. We're going to fast. We're going to do all of that. The Bible says faith without works is dead. So you have your faith, but you also need works. So you also need tangible things that you're going to use and apply. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to resolve conflict. You need to learn social skills. Those are 3 things right there. Somebody can write that. Social skills, conflict management, and communication. I had 3. I think that was the 3. Social skills, yep. Conflict management, conflict resolution, and communication skills. How many will admit that growing up, you didn't have any of these things taught to you in your household? How many will admit that while growing up and even in language, in relationships, you didn't know how to do these things? These things did not show up in these relationships. You just knew I get in a relationship, I like the guy, I like the gal, we get married, and bada bang, bada boom, or bada boom, bada bang, however you say that, right? But who talks about social skills in relationships? Let me know. How many of y'all talked about social skills in your relationship or your marriage? Let's be honest. When you first got married. I mean, maybe now that you know better, right? Now that you've grown and you've evolved and you matured, but how many of you during your premarital counseling and even counseling, pastoral advisement, did you talk about social skills, conflict resolution and management, and communication skills? And even the communication skills, because that's one of the common ones that is discussed in pastoral care and counseling. But when it's discussed, it's more so, oh, you need to respect one another and talk to one another in a godly manner and be kind to one another, and that is great. However, they don't share, how did when you grew up in your household, how was communication between your mother and father? Even if your mother and father were separated or divorced or they were co-parenting, how many counselors ask you that question? How many pastoral advisement ask you that question? How was the communication in your household growing up? Counselors maybe, but pastoral advisement normally does not, because normally they're not trained to provide that level of counseling in pastoral care. It's called pastoral care. So unless they are very intentional about becoming educated and knowledgeable about conflict resolution and communication skills and styles, they wouldn't know, right? So how was the communication growing up? How was it communication between you and your siblings? How is it now? What type of communication style do you have? What type of communication style do your parents have? When bad things happen, or when your parents did get in an argument, how was it resolved? Did you see them resolve anything? Or was resolution, the dad left the home, the mom left the home, they broke down, they cried, they fight? What did that look like? See, these are the things that we're not talking about, right? On day-to-day conversations. And that's why you need a marriage mentor. That's why you need somebody that has not only gone through some things that they can tell you and share with you their experience, but somebody that is knowledgeable of biblical marriage and what it takes to have a healthy, sustainable marriage. So those are the three things I wanted to share with you, because I know a lot of people are in a place right now where their marriage is growing cold. I know that their love is growing cold, and many are making their way to the divorce court, or making their way to the separation, to filing legal separation, and that's not always the case. In some cases, I'm just going to be honest and be realistic, that has to be the case, because the marriage is so toxic, because lives have been destroyed, so much so until it's better for them to be apart than it is to be together. And at some point, and sometimes, they can reconcile, but that does not always happen. We do emulate what we saw growing up. So those are the 3 points I wanted to share with you all today. Make sure, I'm going to start with number 3, make sure you get the marriage mentor. Find somebody that can help you on your journey. And this is the thing, even if your husband is not on board, because I have wives, that I tend to work with, and many times their husbands are not in the space where they're ready to get on board, or they want help, or, some of them have the mentality, I don't want people in my business and all of this other stuff. And I get it. But they don't understand the whole concept of marriage counseling, or even relationship counseling, because it's not about somebody just getting up in your business. It's about somebody trying to help you heal so that your marriage can heal. So my direct target audience, if you would, are wives, and I help them to heal. I help them to find their identity. So regardless if the marriage is going to work out or not, you still need to be in a place where you're healed, where you're whole, and where you're walking in your godly purpose. So that's where I come in at. That's my strength. That's what I'm good at. That's what I have yielded myself to in this dispensation of time, where God has me at, because he gave me a mandate. So regardless if the marriage is going to work out and not, God wanted me to remind you that you belong to him, and your first allegiance is to him. So what I tell many wives is to disconnect from the outcome of, I want my marriage to work. Disconnect from the outcome of, I want my husband to love me, and get connected to the outcome of, I need to be in alignment with God. Because regardless of what happens with this marriage, I need to make sure that I am in alignment. I need to make sure that I am whole. I need to make sure that I am healed. I need to make sure that I am safe. I need to make sure that I am saving myself first. Because I can't try to save a marriage when I still have all the stuff going on with me. I can't try to save a marriage when I am broken, when I am empty. I can't try to save a marriage when I am not whole within Christ. I can't try to save a marriage when my first allegiance is not God. So that's where I come in at. And that's where I support you at. So this is day 12, you guys, day 12 of 21. Enough is enough. Breaking free from behavioral patterns, poor, damaging behavioral patterns that is happening in marriages, that is causing marriages to be destroyed. Thank you for my replay viewers for coming on. Those that are just not coming on, you have to catch the replay because we are off. We're normally on for 5 to 10 minutes during the week, and during the weekend, sometimes it is a little longer. Today, of course, has been a little longer, and I appreciate you all for coming on and sharing. If these videos have been a blessing to you, please share in the Wives Who Win Training Center community. You can just go right in and post and say, hey, you know, I've been enjoying the 21-day Enough is Enough, and let me know and let others know how these videos have been a blessing to you, how the content and the delivery of content has been a blessing to you, how my expertise has helped you, even regardless of where you are in your marriage, great marriage, not so great marriage, divorce, separated, complicated, you know, still share with other people because other people are healed by your testimony. And I want others to be able to come on and to be able to share in this knowledge and this information so that they too can be healed and set free from what is damaging not only their life, but also their relationships. And that includes marriages. So guys, we'll be on tomorrow morning between 6:30 and 7 a.m. We'll be on for day 13, and I'm excited to share with you on tomorrow. So I hope you have a blessed and amazing Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.